everyone, it's Holly and I'm here with my February wrap up. I'm also like accidentally Disney bounding today. Here, let me see if I can show you. I had multiple comments said to me at work today. Let's see if I can get you. Like, this is the skirt I wore, and I think like having black on here like probably doesn't help me look less like Minnie Mouse. You know, unintentional Disney bound. So anyways, back to what this video is actually about, because I'm sure it will not be short. This is my February wrap up, and I ended up reading 11 books, which is just freaking crazy because it's a short month, but I'm not mad about it. So let's just really quick, I thought I would start just like telling you like my overall month. I don't know. So I had no 1-star books, no 2-star books, 2 3-star books, 8 4-star books, and 1 5-star book. So let's go. So the first book I read, I had talked about briefly in my January wrap up because I was reading it, and that is Etiquette and Espionage by Gail Carriger, which is the first book in the Finishing School series, or book the first. This is a prequel YA series to The Parasol Protectorate by Gail Carriger, and I loved The Parasol Protectorate. I thought it was an amazing series. There are some connections to The Parasol Protectorate. I have gathered that there are like spoilers potentially for Parasol Protectorate, which I've read, so like I guess I'm not that concerned. I don't know. But there are definitely some connections. It's been a while since I read the other series, so I'm sure I missed some, plus this is only book 1, but there were some I definitely did catch. I love Gail Carriger's writing. She just has like this really fun, quirky, like kind of sophisticated writing that's like approachable. I don't know. It's very unique and I really like it. This is a paranormal, steampunky kind of read. It takes place in kind of like an alternate history, Victorian England kind of. I think this is still technically Victorian, because I think Victoria is like really old in Parasol Protectorate. It's about a girl named Sophronia, I don't know, and she is sent to a finishing school, but what she learns when she gets there is that it's all about finishing people, like that kind of finishing people. So yeah, I really liked the characters. I really like her. There's like kind of a romance, I think, and I really hope it is. It's so cute and fun. But I am really confused about what's going on. Like, she is very confused. She still doesn't know everything about this world she's been brought into, and so we don't know everything, so that is still a little weird, but I'm very excited to continue reading this series. Then I read Overnight Sensation by Serena Bowen, and I actually read this as an ebook, but I did get a signed physical copy from her as well. And this is the 5th book in the Brooklyn Bruisers series, and this is self-published just like Brooklyn Air was, and it's contemporary hockey romance. I mean, I think you can kind of get that from the cover, right? This follows Heidi Jo, who you meet in Brooklyn Air, and she is an intern at the Brooklyn Bruisers Corporation, and she's also the daughter of the NHL commissioner. And then Castro is the hero, and he is one of the hockey players, so of course there's like drama there. And Castro is kind of like a one-night stand kind of a guy, so it's interesting. You know, it's like one of those stories. It was good. I read it really quickly. Like, I think I only put it down to like go to the bathroom, basically. You know, that happens to me a lot with Serena Bowen books. Heidi had some embarrassing moments in this story, and I am one of those people that feels secondhand embarrassment like so much. Like, sometimes it's really hard for me to read books when it's like that because I get super cringy, and I don't mean that in like a bad way. It's just like a personal flaw, I guess. Castro is really interesting. He likes to quote like Shakespeare and Dickens, and it's like really weird and quirky, but I like him. I enjoyed it, the story, I enjoyed the romance, and overall I thought it was a really enjoyable book, and I hope this series isn't over. There's kind of like some underlying sequel bait, I feel like, so hopefully there will be another book. And then I finally finished a book I've been reading at night for like a while now, and that is The Bane Chronicles by Cassandra Clare, Sarah Reese Brennan, and Maureen Johnson. And this is like 12 or 13 like short story novella-y type things following Magnus Bane from the Mortal Instruments and whole Shadowhunter world. I gave this 4 stars overall, and I enjoyed it. I kind of wish I had read it closer to when I had read other Shadowhunter books, because I feel like there were things that I missed or like didn't fully remember. But it does occur over like a few hundred years, which I think is really interesting. You get to like meet characters you've met in the series from different perspectives, and I really enjoyed that. Like, you get to see kind of like the rising of the circle, and that is just something that we don't get, or at least of what I have read thus far, because I am behind in Shadowhunters books. It's not something I've been able to see, so that was interesting. Some of the stories were a little bleh, but overall I enjoyed it. And then I reread Goose Girl by Shannon Hale, and I actually got this as a audiobook from my library because Haley from Haley and Bookland, I've been like really out of BookTube for like the last 6 to 8 months, and so I was like catching up on all of her videos, and last year she like raved about the audiobooks for the series and how amazing they were, and they're full cast audio, which is perfect. So I got this one because I had been kind of wanting to reread this, and I thought that would be the perfect way. Oh my gosh. So this book I think is still a 4-star book, but the audiobook is just, it's 5 stars. 5 beautiful, wonderful stars. Like, it is the best audiobook. And Anna Burning was my favorite in the series, and that's the next book. It's right over there, so I'm like pointing and looking over there. And I cannot wait to listen to it, because I just can't imagine. If this was as magical as it was, Anna Burning is just gonna be better, right? And I had actually originally read this back in college, and I think The Goose Girl is one of the first books I ever reviewed on my channel. I have no idea what I talk about in that review at all. It's a really nice, fun fantasy story. It is not like a lot of the fantasy you read now. It's not like action and like kick-ass and everything. Like, not that Izzy / Ani isn't an amazing, strong heroine. She totally is, but not in the way that I feel like you read a lot now. She is totally the kind of heroine that I love. The tension was beautiful, and seriously, the audiobook, it was amazing. There was like music, and all of the characters were voiced by different people, and then there was like a narrator, and I would just like sit there and just listen to it. And I don't think I ever have just listened to an audiobook without doing something else. And I would literally just want to just like sit there and soak in the magic. Oh, it was beautiful. And then I read This Shattered World by Amy Kaufman and Megan Spooner, and I actually got this from the library. I have no idea why all of a sudden I was like, I should read this series again. And I had read the first one years ago, which I also got from the library, and I gave this 4 stars. And I decided after reading this that I like this series enough to justify buying them for the covers. So I bought this one and the third one off Thrift Books. The first one was like $13 on Thrift Books, and I was like, well, I could just buy it new. So I'm just gonna hold off on the first one for a while until see if I can get it cheaper. So it's not like the best condition, but whatever. These covers are so gorgeous. I think the first one and the third one is my favorite, but I do like the colors on this one. Anyways, that's not what this is about. Oh, this is the second book in the Star Brown trilogy, and I really did not remember a lot about the first book. I had to like, thank you Recaptains for like existing. So, you know. But it's YA sci-fi. It has like a romantic element. Each story is a standalone, but then there's like overlapping like storyline that kind of like runs through all of it. Yeah, I don't know. I enjoyed it. I don't have a lot to say though. The heroine is like Chinese or part Chinese. At least I think both of her parents are technically Chinese. I don't know. So there was like a little bit of Chinese culture, and then his people, the hero Flynn, are Irish, and I'm like such a sucker for anything Irish related, so I really liked that as well. But yeah, this was fun. I enjoyed it. And then I read as an ebook Mixtape, which is an anthology, and I got this because Al Kennedy has a story in it, and I love Al Kennedy. I think it's like 13 stories or something, and I ended up giving this 3 stars. That's like my average rating. I did review some of the stories individually on my blog if you want to check them out, because I had some strong feelings about some of them. It's a new adult / contemporary romance, probably more contemporary romance anthology, where each story is kind of based off of a love song or a song of some kind. A lot of the stories felt really rushed and underdeveloped, which is a common issue I have with anthologies, especially with romance anthologies, because you just gotta put in the time. Like, not everybody can be a Tessa Dare and write grade A novellas. But some of them were cute, and I would totally check the authors out. None of the other authors other than Al Kennedy I had ever even heard of. And the stories are all very different. So you have different like tropes and like kinks, I guess, for some of them. So it is interesting to be able to read different things I wouldn't normally be drawn to. But in the end, the Al Kennedy story was definitely my favorite one. And then the 7th book I read was When Dimple Met Rishi, which, okay, hold on. I think it's When Dimple Met Rishi? I totally meant to look this up. And her name is like, it's like Cyndia Menon? I don't know. I'm a horrible person. I totally meant to look that up. I'm awful. I do think this cover is adorable, and like the back has a cute picture too, and this is like actually a scene in the story, which is fun. I just love, I'm not even like an orange fan, but oh, I love like the henna on her and like the writing on the cup, and oh, it's just so cute. I love it. Anyway, again, not here for the cover commentary. This I gave 4 stars. It's YA contemporary, and I really enjoyed it. It was so sweet and fun, and I thought it was a really cute story, and it wasn't exactly what I thought it was, but I don't think I had ever actually read the synopsis. I knew that Dimple's parents were trying to set her up with somebody, but I didn't realize that like she was so into coding and computers, and that was going to be such a big element. I do wish it was a little bit more of an element when a character is that passionate about something. Even if I don't understand it, I kind of want more like specific lingo just to make it feel more real, I guess. I don't know. But it was cute and fun. I loved both characters. I thought the romance was really cute. There was one thing I thought was a little rushed, but it wasn't a big deal. Definitely a diverse read in like a lot of different ways, and I'm so glad I read it. I'm so sorry it took me this long, and I definitely want to check out the other books by her. I know the third book, her third book, is connected to this, and all of her covers are like gorgeous. I freaking love the cover. Ooh, sorry book, sorry. But that was very exciting, and I did like the like Indian culture references and stuff. It was like sometimes she would explain things, but a lot of times she didn't, and I always struggle with this because like I'm totally the kind of person that wants to have things explained to me that I don't understand. Now Indian culture I have a slightly better understanding of than some others. At the same time, I kind of like when it's just natural, because like if Dimple is like telling the story or whatever, or if you're kind of in her perspective, she wouldn't take the time to like explain to you all of these things, because that wouldn't make sense with her character, if that makes sense. I don't know, but I felt like I understood what was going on, and it totally made me want to go watch a bunch of Bollywood films. And I believe there are a bunch on Netflix, so that might be a thing that has to happen. If there are any Bollywood recommendations that you have for me that I can get easily without like breaking the law or anything, let me know. And then I had an e-arc from NetGalley, and that was It's Getting Scott in Here by Suzanne Enoch, and I really like her. I haven't read her books in a long time. This is a historical romance. I ended up giving this 3 stars, It was a good story, but it wasn't a great story. The first half felt very slow and the second half felt very rushed, which does not average out to good pace. Like, that's not how it works. The story follows 3 Highland brothers who end up having to go to London because they need to marry English brides because of a deal that their estranged parents made when they became like estranged. Their mom also took, their mom is English and their dad is Scottish. So they grew up with their dad, and their mom left with their little sister and went to London. So they go to London, and they kind of, along with these marriage storylines, you have this storyline about their relationship with their mother and then their relationship with their sister, which with their sister was just adorable. I love family stories. And I'm really intrigued with the mom storyline, and hopefully there'll be more development between the mom and the dad. I'm hoping. I don't necessarily need them to reconcile, although that would be great, but I would like more there. But the romance was fine. It was cute. It kind of started out as like a friendship-y thing. It did get a little rushed in the second half, but overall it was a perfectly good historical. It just wasn't anything amazing. And then I read another ebook, and this is another Haley from Haley and Bookland read. I got this from the library, and that is Always Never Yours by Emily Waverly and Austin, is that her name? Yeah, Austin Siegmund Broca. That is a name. I give this 4 stars. It's a YA contemporary, and it's kind of like a take sort of on Romeo and Juliet. So the heroine Megan is like Rosaline. So Rosaline is the woman that Romeo is like dating before he meets Juliet. So Megan is this girl, and she dates around a lot, and she flirts, and she's like really into guys and all of that. But every time after she dates a guy finds like his happiness, like the one after her. So she is the Rosaline. She also wants to be a director, but in order to get into the college that she wants to go to, she has to have an acting credit. So she auditions for her school's production of Romeo and Juliet, thinking she's gonna get a small role, and ends up getting cast as Juliet. So she's pushed out of her comfort zone. There's like friend drama, but like good friend drama, not like crazy like it felt very real, and it was like dealt with very well. There is a romance, which I did like. I thought it was very cute and fun. And Megan is a very different YA heroine for me. She is not shy or like demure or anything. She very much owns who she is, and I really enjoyed reading something a little different. I did not connect with her in any way, but I still enjoyed reading her, and I loved reading about all of her different friendships, like the struggles, the successes, you know, all of those things. And then I read a new release, and that is Devil's Daughter by Lisa Kleypas, and this book was almost 5 stars, but not quite. It was 4 stars. I freaking love Lisa Kleypas. If you've been on my channel, if you've seen like any video, you probably know that I'm like obsessed with her. Also, can we talk about this cover and how I feel like if Lisa Kleypas were to model for one of her books, this would be her. And like, it's not exactly like her, but like, that's the book cover. This is Lisa Kleypas. Now, her hair is kind of dark, but I feel like I've seen her with red hair before. I don't know. It's a personal thing. Maybe I'm just weird. This is historical romance, and this is the like who knows what book in the Ravenel series, and this is also connected to the Wallflower series. So this is the second book in the series that follows a child of my OTP, Sebastian and Evie from Devil in Winter. Oh my gosh, I love Sebastian and Evie. I am totally one of those people that thinks Devil in Winter is like the best written romance, the best written reformed rake storyline ever. And I'm here for any time Sebastian and Evie show up in a book. The romance was very well done, and it was very mature. Like, the way these characters handled situations and stuff was just, there was drama and everything, but because you need that because it's a book, you know, whatever. But the way they handled it was very mature and appropriate and believable and acceptable, I guess. I really, honestly, I just wish there was an epilogue. That's like all I want. I just want an epilogue. And perhaps a story about Phoebe, the heroine. She is widowed and she has 2 kids. Perhaps a story about her son someday, mostly because I want to know about his relationship with the hero in the story West. They have like such a cute relationship in here when he's a little boy. I would love to see him grow up. And then finally, the last book I read was Soul in Darkness by Wendy Higgins. This is another new release. This is a self-published book. It's new adult and it is a standalone, and it's like a fantasy story, I guess. I think that's the right genre. I don't know. I gave this 4 stars. It is a Cupid and Psyche retelling. I guess technically it's a retelling, but to me it's a pretty accurate representation of a Cupid and Psyche story. It's just a little bit more developed. You get a little bit more motivation and character growth and stuff, but it is still like the story I remember from college, which granted was a long time ago, but I did a project in my fairy tales class. Yeah, that's right, I took a fairy tales class. We each had to like pick a, like each group had to get like a kind of trope, I guess is what I'm gonna go with right now for lack of a better word, for fairy tales, and Cupid and Psyche is kind of like the source for a lot of Beauty and the Beast type stories. So like we kind of talked about how you go from like Cupid and Psyche to Beauty and the Beast to like Shrek, which is a Beauty and the Beast type story as well. This was this was a good story. I really liked it. It really gripped me. Like the last 100 pages were slower, and they weren't slower in the book, but there was a lot more like tension or something, and I was getting very stressed, so it was very hard for me to read. I don't know. But it was a good story. I liked it. I like Wendy Higgins. This is definitely more mature than like her Sweet Evil series, but I really enjoyed it. I would read more books by her. I would recommend it. I think it's fun. I really liked Psyche as a character as well. She was really fun. So, oh, and then I am currently listening to 48 Laws of Power, and I am currently reading, or should I say rereading, The Golden Lily. This is the Dust Jacket. The book's over there somewhere. I'm almost done with this because I'm trying to reread this series. I love this series. Oh my gosh. It is not disappointing, you guys. Not disappointing. But yeah, so that is what I read and what I am reading currently. I'm really happy with how the month went. If you have any comments, questions, or anything like that, feel free to leave them down below. And thanks so much for watching. Bye!